He always comes in. We're about to record.
He does. He do.
He
He
do.
he knows. He has a fifth sense about it.
Yeah, he's gearing up to disturb the peace. I like
All
it though.
right. Warning, cat in room will
Cat
interrupt podcast.
forever. Yes.
All right. Hello everyone and welcome to the show. I'm Blair.
And I'm Kirsten, and we are mediocre
Content.
I thought we were ready, Blair.
We're ready. We're ready. No, my cat just, like I said, my cat just jumped up on the side and I'm like waiting for him to knock over something. Also, stay away from my plants, sir.
You can't tell him how to live his life. He's a free cat. Oh, Simba.
Literally.
Oh my god. Well, this is the last freaking episode of May. Can you believe that?
Whoop, whoop.
Closing
I
it out.
can
It's so hard
sometimes. It is so hard to believe. I look at our podcast schedule sometimes and I'm like, wow, we've been doing this for a long time. Like
Yeah.
longer than I thought we were going to do.
Wow, we actually made something of this.
Wow, we did this. No way.
No, it's very cool. And we're almost halfway through 2023, which is extremely insurmountable mentally.
I don't want to talk about it.
That's fair.
2024 is going to lead, like 2024 is going to be nice, but it's also going to be an election year, which makes me sad. I'm like not ready.
Tough. Yeah.
The drama.
For everybody in the States, you know what we're talking about. And for everybody outside of the States, enjoy the show. I know that there's gonna be tons of stuff. There's always tons of stuff that, people from the outside are like, wow. We're like, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
We agree.
Exactly.
How have you been? Everything going well?
Everything is good. Everything is good. Did I don't know if I told the podcast that I visited home for a while and I went to a wedding.
You did not.
And so I visited my parents for the first time since we moved out to California. And we had a lovely little time. I saw my brother and his wife Nicole. And my mom my mom and dad, like, they're empty nesters now, right? Like my brother and I are both married and like educated and like, out of the house.
Why was educated also added in there?
Well, I don't know. I just feel like when people leave the house, they're like out of college and everything,
That's
you're
fair.
Like making real money. You have real jobs. That's why.
Is that what happens? I
don't know. I guess.
Is there hope? I'm just kidding. I have a pretty okay.
And also, like, you don't necessarily have to get married to move out of your parents' house. So educated could also mean that you went to college and have a big job now. I don't know, whatever.
Big job, like it.
But my mom has developed this relationship with what we think is a cat. We're not really sure.
You're gonna have to elaborate on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess this past winter, she saw like little cat prints on the deck of their like back porch. And so my mom, being the animal lover that she is, bought cat food and a little cat bed and a little bowl and put it out in like the little nook of the back porch. And but the thing is like she's only seen what she thinks is a cat. You know what I mean? Like she's only seen the cat prints, and like the cat only comes and eats the food at night, and not, there's no sightings of the cat during the day. We don't know. We just know that when we get up in the morning that the food is gone.
Is this a ghost cat?
Right.
Phantom
so
cat.
I think I have theories. We don't know if it's a cat. We don't know. It's my mom's calling it a cat.
Okay.
Cat with quotation marks. So I think it's a raccoon or a possum or something, maybe. Like it could be. And how funny would that be? You just like wake up at 3 a.m. and you see the little raccoon with its little fingers. like eating the little cat food one by one.
Oh my God. Or if you want to go down a horror story,
oh no.
You wake up at 3 a.m. and you don't see a cat and the food is still gone, but you see something else in the woods.
Oh geez.
Is it spooky yet?
No, it's not time for that.
Okay.
I mean, it's always I always love a good like Halloween spooky story, but I don't think I really don't think that's what it is.
What do they call them? Is it skinwalkers?
Yes. And that's terrifying. And it's like Appalachian, West Virginia.
Yeah.
TikTok. If the woods say your name, don't say anything back. And I'm just like, what do you mean?
My favorite thing is it's just like, if you hear your name, you don't.
You don't.
You're like, okay. Got it. I'm deaf. Perfect.
Wood safety.
Wood safety. Only you can prevent kidnapping. Horrifying.
I'm don't sorry go in if the you woods. Guys can hear my cat. He is meowing intensely in the background.
That's a real cat. Hey. Well, hopefully it is a cat, and maybe it's just a rando neighborhood cat, you know? Oh, he reached for you. That was adorable.
No. It was adorable, and I love it when he does that.
Have you seen the Papa's party? Oh my
God. Not me every day going to Salem being like, B, it's a Papa's party, B, it's a Papa's. If you know, you know, and if you don't know, you'll see it on Reels in like a month.
Oh my God. Yeah, right. Yeah, we talked about that too. Chris has not let it out too. First of all, he continues to send me the Facebook videos, which I still watch, but also he called me out when they were driving. They called me while they, I guess, listened to the episode. It's just like he loves your comments on the videos that he sends you. He's like, you've probably already seen it. Took it real personal.
Oh,
it is.
We're sorry, Chris. It's okay. It's all right. We understand.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, with that, there's more that I really want to talk about that I see that you have here. Would you like to provide a disclaimer before we get into some more tea?
Yes. Yes, I would. Okay. So as always, we're not experts on anything. And if you have come to the podcast to get any kind of advice, we are not the place to get that, but we are the place to learn about things. And we also encourage you to do your own research. So with that, I have the good news this week, and we're going to be talking about One Direction, as one does.
As one does.
So I know we had on our One Direction podcast, if you haven't listened to that, please listen to that because it'll give you some context on who you're dealing with here. But
it will define exactly who I am.
Right. But basically Liam Payne might be getting it together. And I know that we shit on him a lot in our One Direction podcast because he went off the deep end for a while. And I'm skeptical, but according to this article, One Direction alum Liam Payne revealed that he is over 100 days sober, saying, I feel amazing. I feel really, really good. The support from fans and everything has been really good too. And I'm super happy. Good for Liam.
Okay.
We appreciate that.
I didn't know he was dealing with a problem. It explains a lot of his behavior.
So, yes. I mean, I know on the Jake Paul, or not Jake Paul. Oh, yeah, it is Jake. No, Logan Paul. It's Logan Paul's it's Logan Paul's podcast. On that podcast, he was seen like drinking kind of a lot. But I mean, that was one time. Like, we don't really know like to the extent of the problem. But and I don't know if he really did have a problem or if he was just saying, you know, like, hey, I've just been laying off the alcohol. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you can be sober for a certain amount of time without actually having a problem. He might have been on the brink of a problem. I don't know.
Right.
You know. So Payne has been open about his struggle with alcoholism. Okay, well, that answers that question. In the past, in 2019, he told Men's Health Australia that he struggled to keep up after the talent show The X Factor. and has become part of the and became so after the X Factor. Obviously, he was in One Direction. He added that he often drank before going on stage in an effort to manage the stress.
I did not know that.
Quote, it's almost like putting on a Disney costume before you step up on stage, and underneath the Disney costume, I was pissed quite a lot of the time because there was no other way to get your head around what was going on, unquote. He said.
Jeez.
Quote, I mean, it was fun. We had an absolute blast, but there were certain parts that were a little bit toxic.
Obviously.
Fair.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, Payne told IFL TV this week that in addition to being sober, he's also working on a new album that he's really excited about.
Okay.
Yeah. He says that he definitely wants to tour this time, and it's unusual because he wasn't sure that he was going to tour. But he's excited to get back on the road and see the fans.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I know like he was invited. So this all came about because this is a little bit of an old article. So this all came about while he was at the movie premiere for Louis, because Louis had his whole like concert movie come out, documentary, I think. And Liam was invited, which everyone was kind of like, oh, so they're still friends. That's good. You know, and then Niall and Harry were like off in America, like doing their own thing. The premiere was in London, I think.
So.
And then we don't know where Zayn is. He's like MIA.
Zayn's just doing his thing, as he does.
as he does, right?
Yeah. Well, I think also for the boys in general, particularly Louis. I mean, if any of them did that, chances are they wouldn't like not invite everyone just for good, like good character,
right?
Good. Whatever you want to call it. So that makes sense to me, even if there was a little bit of a rough patch, that he would still be invited. But didn't was it you that I was talking to? Yeah, it was. So we were texting about his comment. Was that there then about the chat? Their chat?
Remind me again.
So you sent me that little blip of an interview with Liam, and I wasn't sure, was that at Louis' premiere or was that somewhere else?
Yeah. So that was at Louis' premiere.
So for context here, listener, there's a little blip going around, a video of Liam in this, like, it was less than a couple of seconds, where the interviewer or a reporter was like, are you guys thinking about getting back together, blah blah blah, and he's like, I can't speak on that, but what I can say is we've like reopened our group chat, or we have a group chat, or something like that. And now additionally, what we were tweeting or chatting about were the TikToks regarding Niall and Harry, who were playing One Direction songs at their personal concerts, and now everybody's in a tizzy.
Louis too.
Everybody's in a tizzy about it, because they think that this is the beginning of a reunion tour.
Yeah, because Harry has consistently, on his European tour, has consistently played Stockholm Syndrome. And then Niall has been playing Best Song Ever. And I mean, Harry has always done in his set list What Makes You Beautiful, I think.
Something like that.
So that's not abnormal. But like these other songs that are more like deep cuts. And then Louis did Where Do Broken Hearts Go? So I don't know. This is suspicious and I don't like it. It's making me feel things, and I'm not okay with it.
But it's like also stressful, to your point, like you were saying. So
yeah, it is stressful.
My fear is the same, that if there is going to be a reunion tour, number one, it's probably going to be very limited in where they do it. So it's, you're going to have to pick and choose where to go, which means it's going to be not just the tickets, which are going to be astronomical, but travel.
Yeah.
And then the fighting to get tickets to this, because this might not be BTS big, but this will be big. This will be big.
Yeah.
Okay.
True. So I have a question. So in the realm of tickets, really quick. So I've been tracking the Taylor Swift ticket situation because I really want to go. I think it would be super fun. However, I don't have the kind of cash on hand to like be able to do so.
Insanity.
And so, but people have been saying that right before the show, ticket prices will like go down because people want to sell them, right? So
Oh.
I've been like trying to track ones for like other dates just to see like how low do we mean.
Mm-hmm.
And even for nosebleed seats, it's an
It's
average of about
insane.
$1,200 a piece, which
Yep.
is wild.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
However, so I was on TikTok and I was scrolling, and this girl posted a video of Ed Sheeran's concert because he's currently touring in the United States as
Oh,
well.
I didn't know that.
And he was like, and whoever posted it was like, I know that you all want to go to Eras tour, but hear me out. Ed Sheeran's Mathematics tour is also very good. And so I went just to see like what the ticket prices are for him because he's like, I would consider him a very fairly like popular artist.
Yeah.
And so I went to go see. Nosebleeds for him are $80 a pop. And
That's
I
not
could get
bad.
general admission. I know. And I could get general admission like on the floor and it would be 145.
Also not bad.
I know. That's like reasonable, I think,
Yeah.
for someone
Well,
of that magnitude. And
yeah.
so now I'm like curious, like what deal did Ed Sheeran strike to like make the ticket prices reasonable for him, or just nobody cares?
I was gonna say
Because
it's
I don't
probably
know. I
because
mean, I feel like people care.
I mean they might care, but he's not nearly as hyped up as she is on her Eras tour or whatever. Not to mention,
Okay. All right. I know you hate her. Okay.
I
We don't
don't
have to
hate
talk about
her.
that right now. I don't need that kind of tone from you.
Look, my thing is, if I had to think, and I've never been to either type of concert I've never been to either one of their concerts ever, right? But if I had to guess, I would also have to think that the finances that go into her concert is probably also astronomical because just from the videos that
True.
are just absolutely
True.
viral, there is a lot
Yeah.
going into her concert. Like she is it's not just her
The
singing,
production
it is a
value.
production.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think number one, having access to all of that and being able to move it so aggressively with wherever she's going to make it work in all of these different venues, I think that's what's
Yeah.
making the prices crazy as well.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because I mean she's very popular, but I would argue that there are a lot of popular artists, obviously like Ed, who don't have
That's
that
true.
problem.
That's true. Ed's is like the screens, and then he basically is
Right.
his own band
Well,
because he
right.
does like the
Exactly.
recording thing,
Right. So he
the
might have a couple of
loop recording.
yeah, he might have a couple of things that he does during the concert that are like, "Oh, wow," but it's not going to be nearly as flamboyant and like large as Taylor is
Right.
going to do.
You're right. That's true.
So I think
That's a good
that's
point.
why it's just more expensive to do for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fair.
That's my idea.
Fair.
I don't
I
hate
just
her. I'm just not a fan.
$1,200 for a seat where I can barely see her is, and it's kind of behind the stage too. Like I was like, because it gives you like the little preview of like where your seat is, and it's like
You're like, wow.
in the back, like behind. You're just looking at nothing.
My favorite $1,200 for nothing.
For nothing.
For nothing. Anyway,
So
moving
Chris
on.
would also like me to say in here, well, really quick. Chris would also like me to say in here that we are going to see the Jonas Brothers in August. So there's that.
Did you okay, did you also because they were kind of in the same realm at the time, the Jonas Brothers and oh my god, it just did like your brain did earlier. My brain just went um Big Time Rush.
Is it another boy band?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Chris is a big time Rush person.
They are doing a concert at Foxwoods.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
like a concert. It's like a
So
casino
you're a big
concert.
time Rush person then?
I don't listen to their music anymore, but I was when I was listening to the Jonas Brothers, I was also listening to them. And you just made me think about it.
Got it. I was an exclusively Jonas Brothers type of person until One Direction came, and then I was like, oh well,
they do have good
moving
music.
on. Yeah. They do. It's very, pop, teen, all that.
It was very in.
All right, next story. Now that we've rambled on about One Direction enough.
It just happens.
So opened at the Guggenheim Museum, I believe that's in New York. The new show, Young Picasso in Paris, comprises 10 paintings and drawings made by Picasso upon his arrival in the French capital in 1900. I'm not going to try to say that French thing. But one of the paintings depicts a lively scene, a famous Parisian dance hall that was painted by the artist wait. Why is this grammar so terrible? I am the worst. All right. Basically, one of the paintings has a very lively scene in a Parisian dance hall, and a bunch of couples are featured in the painting. We see 3 figures seated at a table in the foreground. However, studies carried out by the Guggenheim in collaboration with experts from the Metropolitan Museum of Art and the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., revealed a lively 4th guest at the table covered up by a swath of dark paint. Conservators were able to generate an image of what the dog originally looked like. So it is a dog.
That's cool.
That was covered up. Yes. So they were able to see what the dog originally looked like using X-ray fluorescence and an imaging technique that maps out the chemical elements in the painting, including pigments, according to the Guggenheim senior painter conservator. Apparently, changing his paintings is common practice for Picasso, and this discovery is one of the earliest examples of him changing his paintings.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and they think so. Like, the museum noted that the dog bears a close resemblance to the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, though they cannot say for certain why Picasso opted to remove the canine from the scene. She suggested the painter might have considered, because I guess it had like a bow on. It was like a dog with a bow, and
that's so cute.
I guess Picasso decided that's probably too distracting to the overall effect of the painting he was trying to do, so he covered it up. Jeez. But he's done this in like several other paintings, apparently.
It's like Hidden Pictures.
Right. No, exactly.
Also, can we talk about how freaking wild technology is that we found a dog in this however many year old painting? Technology is wild. How did we even know what to look for? Or did we just look because we know this is what he does,
Well, I think each painting probably goes through a certain level of like
review.
Yeah, it's kind of like archaeology where they like, look in places and see what's going on. I don't know. And they like go through what I imagine is that they go through this like scanner thing. And they look to make sure that everything's authentic and like nice looking and the same as it was before. And
that's true.
If I don't know,
that's true. Well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
it's kind of wild.
Very wild.
Well, I loved that.
Good,
because I love technology, and
we're
about to see what other kinds of things technology has given us.
Also, please take note, I was very proud of myself that both of my good news stories did not have anything to do with science.
It had technology.
I know, but like
it was
about
exactly
art.
Science. Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I guess you could call Liam Payne's struggles art. He's so artistic.
Some would call him an artist. Others would call him a washed up boy band member.
Oh
but
my God.
Not I. I would never do that.
Certainly not you.
Certainly not. No.
Me? What? That was great. Okay. Well, we are going to dive into some science today, so don't think that you got out of the science because it's still here. And we're still going to bore you.
She's still on her planet crusade, everybody.
Oh, I'm on another planet, that's for sure. I am out there today. As you can see from the title, today's planet of choice is Mars, so we're making our way through. And I would also like to preface this to say that we know a lot about Mars. Obviously not everything, because we're still exploring it. But we know a lot about it comparatively to the other planets. And we're going to talk about essentially how and why. And it's super exciting, I guess.
Yay.
Yay. Don't get too crazy. All right. So as our other series episodes have gone, we're going to talk about basic facts first. If you don't know, Mars is the 4th planet from the sun. It's also known as the red planet because it looks red. And we are super creative with what we call things.
We love that.
Wow. It has its name origins, as you might know, from ancient Romans for the god of war, Mars. And that is because of its reddish color. It's reminiscent of blood. So fun. And other civilizations also named the planet with this kind of attribute in mind. For example, the Egyptians called it Her-Deshur, which means the red one. Oh. Don't come for me for the absolute terrible pronunciation. That's the best I can do. Even today, it's frequently called Red Planet for short. It's got a lot of iron minerals in it. Iron oxidizes, so red. And in the Martian dirt oxidation or rust, that's what's causing this color. So you have like metal. We've all seen rust before, I'm sure. Anybody seen a Ford Bronco from like 1993? You know what freaking rust is. The whole thing is rust.
Oh my God.
It is about 154,000 miles away from the sun, which is about 249,000 kilometers. It didn't give me a distance from Earth, but it ain't that far, so that's cute. It has a one-way light time to the sun, which again is just how long the sunlight takes to hit the planet. It's about 13-ish minutes, and 1 year is about 687 Earth days. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's not bad. Planet is terrestrial. We've already been over the other ones. If you don't remember what the other types are, you can go back and listen to the other series. But this is also, other than our planet, of course, out of the ones we've talked about, this is also the first planet to have moons, which is super great. So
we love that.
Yeah, she's cute. Mars has 2 moons. They are considered captured asteroids, and they are potato-shaped due to the lack of gravity that would normally make things spherical. The moons get their names from horses that pulled the chariot of the Greek god of war, Ares. So that's exciting. Moon number 1 is Phobos, the innermost and largest of the 2. It is heavily cratered with deep grooves on its surface and is slowly moving towards Mars. And they are predicting it will actually crash into Mars in about 50 million years. So dramatic. Deimos.
That is dramatic.
I know. Deimos is about half as big as Phobos. It orbits 2.5 times further away from Mars, and it kind of has a weird shape and is covered in loose dirt that often fills the craters on its surface, making it appear a little bit more smooth than Phobos. So great. Great things. Really.
Love that. Yeah.
It doesn't currently have any rings, but unfortunately we haven't gotten to Saturn yet. But here's the thing you need to know about space rings around planets. While Mars doesn't currently have rings, it might in like 50 million years. Oh, you're saying, they're like, that's strange. Isn't that about the time that Phobos is about to slam right into Mars? And you're like, yes, actually, it is. Want to know why? Because
thus the rings.
Thus the rings. So what happens is when these planetary things collide, they create dust and debris. That's rock and planet matter, and it all goes up into space. And depending on the gravitational pull, how strong it is, the rotation, all of those fun science facts, sometimes they are the catalyst for the dusty rings that you find, example, Saturn. So Mars may get a ring, which is so great for her. But it's not going to be for like another 50 million years. And it will be because Phobos dramatically slams into her or him. I guess it's a male. I don't know. Bottom line is, might put a ring on it. Phobos is interested. The atmosphere on Mars is thin and mostly made up of, don't laugh at me, is mostly made up of carbon.
It's just funny because like I'm imagining all the like the dating history and like the drama. Like we could make a totally fake reality show of all of these like planets and their dating problems.
I think that this is going to be great. I say we do that.
The Real Housewives of the universe.
Absolutely. Do you know how few views that would get?
so many few views.
Mars has a thin atmosphere made of mostly carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and argon gases. The weather it's all right. Temperatures on Mars can be as high as 70 degrees Fahrenheit or about 20 degrees Celsius. They can also be as low as negative 225 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about negative 153 degrees Celsius. Somehow that doesn't feel right, but maybe it is. Doesn't matter. It's pretty chilly. And because the atmosphere is so thin, heat from the sun can easily escape. So if you were standing on the surface of Mars on the equator at noon, it would kind of feel like spring at your feet, and then winter at your head, which is great. That variance is vast.
I don't like that.
I don't like what you just said.
It's like I need a hat and flip-flops. I'm so confused.
I need a sweater and then bare feet. It's weird. But occasionally winds on Mars are strong enough to create dust storms, and you'll see, if you look at a lot of the images, in addition to it being red, you will kind of see them covering up the planet a little bit. And after such storms, it can be kind of months before all that dust settles, because it's a terrestrial planet. It's rock, dust, and matter, it's just dusty. And now we're going to move into her actual looks. It has a radius.
But what's she look like?
You like how I just keep that? It's just in our notes.
But what's she look like?
What's she look
I'm
like?
sure that came from NASA.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Is that NASA. The official heading on the NASA website?
Yes, I literally copied and pasted. Can you imagine? That'd make the site so much better, honestly.
I would love that.
But what's she look like? It has a radius of about 2,000 miles, which is about 3,000 kilometers. Again, if you want the diameter, just take it and times it by 2. Maths. It has a tilt of about 23.4 degrees. So it will also have similar seasons to Earth. However, those seasons will last just a little bit longer due to the slower orbit it has around the sun. And this orbit is similar to that of Mercury, which we talked about in our first episode, where it's a bit egg shape in orbit structure. So just a little wonky.
It's an oval.
Yeah, exactly. Shapes. It has a structure in terms of like core, mantle, whatever, also pretty similar to us. I think most planets do for the most part, especially the terrestrial ones. Mars has a dense core at its center, which is between 930 and 1,300 miles in radius, which is about 15 to 2,100 kilometers. It's made of iron, nickel, and sulfur, which is pretty typical of that. Its surrounding core is a rocky mantle. It's thick, and then above that is the crust, of course, which is composed of iron, magnesium, aluminum, calcium, and potassium. And that crust is about 6 to 30 miles deep, which is kind of a weird, I don't know how weird it is. I guess I don't know what Earth's is. We haven't done Earth yet, but it's not too thick, I guess. She ain't that thick.
Thick.
So its surface in general, you will see those browns and golds and tans. Again, this is due to that oxidation or rusting of the iron in the rocks. They call it Martian soil or regolith.
If you like the Mad Max aesthetic, this is your planet.
This is
basically.
This is it. Also, if you enjoy saying Red Planet, you can sing Red Planet in the Little Mix song, Red Planet. So just if you like the aesthetic, Red Planet. Whatever. While Mars,
thank you for the sing-alongs, Kirsten. I love it.
Very welcome. While Mars is about half the diameter of Earth, its surface has nearly the same area as Earth's dry land. Its volcanoes impact craters, crustal movement, and atmospheric conditions, such as the dust storms that have altered the landscape of Mars over many, 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 many years. And it's interesting topographically, apparently. So, as a result. There's a large canyon system called Valles Marineris. Sure. It is long enough to stretch from California to New York, so that's more than 3,000 miles, if you don't know. This Martian Canyon is 200 miles at its widest and 4.3 miles at its deepest, and that's about 10 times the size of Earth's Grand Canyon. So,
can I interrupt you for one moment?
Of course you can.
My cat just opened the closet door.
Don't mind if I do. I'll just let myself in.
He opened the closet door just so he could find a place to nap.
Honestly, that is the only reason that you should do anything, to find a place to nap. That's what I'd like to be doing.
Jinx, I see you in there.
Bruh, we see you. He's supposed to root around.
He's like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Where?
Meanwhile, his tail is like sticking out the side.
That's always the best when they think they're hidden. You've seen that cat that's behind the sheer curtain, and he legit does not think that he is found. But we see you plain and clear.
Yeah.
Oh, cats are great. Freaking love it.
So funny.
Oh my god.
All right, please back to your regular scheduled programming. Sorry about that.
Mars is also home to the largest volcano in the entire solar system, which is pretty grand. It's called Olympus Mons, and it's 3 times taller than our Mount Everest, with a base the size of the state of New Mexico. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's a pretty intense volcano. That thing is huge.
If you ever wanted to feel small,
just think about the solar system for a little while.
Yeah.
It'll humble you right up. And then my next favorite session outside of But What She Look Like is But Water Though.
Water though.
Water though. Mars appears to have had a watery past, so this is also kind of similar to Venus. We talked about the fact that she was kind of Earth's twin, and then things went horribly wrong. With ancient river valley networks and deltas and lake beds, like Mars had it all. He really did. This was also, full of rocks and different kinds of minerals on the surface that could have also formed in liquid water. They claim that some features on Mars may have suggested that there have been huge floods on the planet as well, but this would have been about 3.5 billion years ago. And they also claim that there is still water on Mars today. However, the Martian atmosphere, which is what they call Mars's atmosphere, is too thin for liquid water to exist for long on the actual surface. So essentially the water that's currently there that you can find is water ice just under the surface in the polar regions, as well as in briny, salty water, which will seasonally flow from some of the hillsides and crater walls. So, does have water, just a little sparse. What does that look?
Nothing. I didn't realize there was flowing water. I just thought it was like crystallized, kind of like under the surface. But now I'm like picturing some kind of small river, and I'm like, oh, this is different than I thought it was.
Oh. I didn't know that either before reading this. I also did not think that there was like live, like living, moving, breathing water.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
As usual, we will talk about formation and exploration in the second half, but for now, I'm gonna send y'all over to the ad.
Whoop whoop. We receive many questions regarding what exactly Mediocre Content Podcast can be used for in the average person's daily life. Today, we will address this question head on with a list of everything you can do while listening to MCP. Kirsten, take it away.
Laundry, cooking, biking, hiking, driving, typing, working, walking, jumping, tattooing, swimming,
okay, Kirsten.
launching a rocket, math homework, hopping, racing, singing,
all right,
showering, shaving,
I think they
sleeping,
get it.
Jogging, eating, spinning, zooming, fishing,
Kirsten?
boating,
Hello?
teething,
Girl, can you hear me?
Taking out trash, gardening, building a house.
Okay. It appears we've lost her. Well, just so you know, you could do a lot of things while listening to Mediocre Content Podcast. So, yeah, that's the whole ad. And I'm gonna go head over to the second half now. Kirsten, come on over when you're better.
Being controversial.
All right, bye guys.
Not listening to your wife eating peanuts. Welcome back, everybody. We are now in the second half. We're going to talk about formation and exploration on Mars. And you might think with how much that we know about Mars that this is going to be a really long section of the pod, but you would be wrong because there is so much in fact that I cannot include all of it, which is just shameful. We just do not have the time.
I mean, we could have the first ever 2-hour pod, but I don't really think anyone wants that, including us.
No, and in fact, it would be more like a 3 to 4 hour pod with how much we have,
Fair.
which is just insanity to me. So let's start small. So formation. Solar system allegedly settled in its current layout around 4.5 billion years ago. Is what they say. Mars was formed when gravity pulled swirling gas and dust in, and that is what they say became the fourth planet, Mars. It's about half the size of Earth, terrestrial planet as we've talked about, and that's kind of it. That's what they think.
Love it.
They think gas and dust is what made Mars, and you know what? They're probably right.
I feel like that's most planets,
I would say so. Yeah. More interestingly is the exploration, of course, however. So there is no planet beyond Earth that has been studied as intensely as Mars. It's just easier to do comparatively to
some would say we're obsessed with Mars. Some would say
also say that maybe we're going to put a ring on it before Phobos slams into him viciously, it might be Earth. Who knows? We'll talk about it in the Housewives episode. Either way, recorded observations of Mars date back as far as the Egyptian period, which is about 4,000 or over 4,000 years ago. And in Egypt, it's said that they charted the planet's movement in the sky. Pretty amazing. He is obsessed with you today. I love it.
He just jumped on my lap, like just casually, and he didn't even use his nails. I'm so happy for him.
He's getting so good at it.
Getting so good at it.
Today, NASA has a fleet of robotic spacecraft that study Mars from all angles pretty consistently. And its experiences have changed in terms of like what we're doing on Mars now. So now they're in exploration types instead of just exploration like successes. So like in the previous episodes, particularly in Mercury, for example, where we had like the flybys, we had the orbiters, and then we had the landers, and it was just about how close can we get for how long and still retrieve data from that probe or robot or whatever you want to call it, right? It was literally, can we succeed at all to make contact with this planet in any way? Mars, because we are so good at getting in contact with it and having successful landings and orbits and etc. We are just now taking that to the activities and things. We are past success. We are now, what kind of exploration types can we do on this planet then, if it's so easy to get to and so easy to explore? So that's how crazy it is in terms of success with Mars. As I said, there's so much to cover. I'm only going to talk about these types loosely, to say the least, because there's just so much going on. But I would highly suggest, if you're interested in exploring each of these categories and these individual explorations more deeply, go on to NASA's websites. We always have the URLs in the description, so make sure you check it out if you're interested. Because this is just brief. On the ground, so this is type number 1. NASA's Next Generation Perseverance rover is going to be doing some stuffs. It is the largest, most advanced rover that NASA has sent to another world, and again, probably because they trust it to get to Mars and be able to do something successful there. It touched down on Mars February 18th in 2021. And 2 other NASA spacecraft are already at work on the surface. This is NASA's Curiosity rover, which is currently exploring Mount Sharp and the Gale crater, and NASA's InSight, which is a stationary lander that is probing the interior of Mars from a site on a flat, smooth plain called Elysium Planitia. There we go. Nailed it. So, a couple of things happening. One was sent over and touched down already in 2021. It's kind of new to the gang, and the other ones were already kind of doing their thing. In the air, the Ingenuity helicopter flew to Mars attached to the belly of Perseverance, which again is the ground robot that was sent and landed in 2021. Ingenuity became the first aircraft in history to make a powered, controlled flight on another planet, and this was in April 19, 2021. So it landed in February, started making controlled flights around the planet in April, which is pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing.
So just kind of think about that as like on Earth, you would see helicopters and planes and stuff, all the time. This is now happening in Mars with Ingenuity.
Can I give a brief cat update?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Jinx was in the closet, and then he was in like this little basket thing. And then Salem found out that he was in the closet.
Yes, right.
And then went in the basket with Jinx, and then Jinx poked his little head out and was like, "I'm being crushed."
Mother help.
And then he jumped, and then Jinx jumped out of the closet and is now sitting next to me.
Literally, Salem just wanted to steal his spot.
He does that all the time to Jinx. I feel kind of bad.
You can't tell if he wants to cuddle or if he's just like, get out, it's mine now.
Right. And like sometimes they'll cuddle together, but like most of the time Jinx is not having that.
That's fair. Salem seems a little rogue.
He's clingy, and Jinx isn't here for that.
Salem, you're a little clingy. I'm gonna need you to mind your biz.
He's a stage 4 clinger.
Poor Salem.
All right. Continue with your
okay. Right.
With your Mars exploration details.
We're almost there. Okay, orbiting, which is different from air. So air is going to be within the atmosphere, orbit it's going to be outside of it. NASA has 3 spacecraft that are currently in orbit around Mars, and it's Mars Reconnaissance, Mars Odyssey, and then Maven. They clearly had a different naming strategy for all of these, and I'm sure on the website there's specifics around when these were launched, when they got caught in orbit, what the success was, what they're doing. All that information is on NASA's website with these individual categories. So if you're curious about what they're doing and why they're in orbit and when they were sent, again, go check it out, read about it, do your own research, as we always say. And now we're into international missions, which is its own little category, of which there are many as well. Lots of different countries have found their way over to Mars as well. The Hope orbiter, that was from the United Arab Emirates, arrived on February 9th, 2021. So lots happening in 2021. There's also China's Tianwen number 1. That one also arrived in February, just a day after the United Arab Emirates did, February 10th, 2021. And that includes an orbiter, a lander, and a rover. So China sent a lot of stuff. In May of that same year, China became the second nation to ever land successfully on Mars when its Zhurong Mars rover touched down. And then the ESA manages the ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter and the Mars Express missions. India's first Red Planet spacecraft, the Mars Orbiter mission, or MOM, has been orbiting Mars since 2014. So there's a lot going on. Mom!
Get out of my room!
Yeah, you know what? Mars is just being a brat. And so India was like, we got to send the mom, got to send the mothership. Right.
We do.
So there's a lot going on. It's still going on. There's a lot of current missions going on. I'm sure that they're also planning on sending more. I don't know when. I don't know what. However, go check it out. Read up on it. There's a plethora of things to learn about when it comes to Mars. It's a very cool planet. Similar to Venus, my understanding is they're also trying to figure out, how Mars came to be what it is, if it was always what it is, considering there is water, the whole life on the planet, could it sustain, all of those things that we're generally curious about when we're exploring the solar system.
I love how you said Mars is a very cool planet, but really it's only cool from like the waist up.
Literally the waist up is the only kind of cooling you're going to receive at Mars.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
Your feet are blistering. It's very true though. That weather is crazy.
Wild.
Instead of the equator splitting it, it's just kind of like your height.
Right, exactly.
Oh my god.
It's so weird.
It is
It's
weird,
like such an odd concept to think about.
It is weird. I almost kind of want to recreate it. What I'll do, I know exactly what I'll do. I'll put a fan at face height and a space heater at leg height, and we'll just experience Mars in my own living room.
That's right. You're so right. And then you can just be like wearing shorts and flip-flops on the bottom. Exactly. And then on the top you're wearing a ski jacket with like a really one of those really fuzzy like ski hats or whatever. Yeah.
Ski hats.
You know what I'm talking with the flaps, the ear flaps.
Oh, like a cabin hat or whatever they are.
I don't know. I forget the proper name for them, but you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about. They're usually plaid.
Like if you were to go dog sledding, you would think about wearing one of those hats.
Yes, indeed. Also, I kind of do that already. Like if I'm sitting in this room, like my top half gets really cold, so I usually wear like a sweater, and then my bottom, I'm just sweaty, so I'm wearing shorts. So I'm kind of like the embodiment of Mars as I am.
Yes. Yes. I'm sure any like woman would also give that same thing.
I saw a joke, like a video from College Humor, which is also a throwback. They're doing TikToks now, but I saw them do this video where it's like, it's the woman's winter, when it's like AC inside, but it's like so freaking hot outside.
Yeah.
I was like, that's actually pretty accurate.
Do you know what though? I am here for aggressive AC. I am here for it. I appreciate it. I love it. If I have to wear a sweater inside during a 90-degree day, I am blissfully happy.
Absolutely. I wish I could do that more here. We have 0 central AC and it kills me every summer.
We have the same. But our temperatures, I think, are a little bit more moderate than y'all's.
Probably. It's definitely humid here, which doesn't help. So
yeah, we're stuck in this perpetual like spring, because at night it's like 52 and cold. Like I'm wearing like 3 jackets and pants and socks and all the whole nine. And then during the day it doesn't get too warm, but it gets like 65.
Yeah.
And so I'm wearing, you know, like my t-shirt and pants and maybe like some Birkenstocks or something. So it's very
yes.
I just want it to be hot. I want to like bake in the sun for a little bit. I want to have lizard time where I like bake in the sun.
I just want to lay on a hot rock outside somewhere.
That's it. That's all I want to do.
Oh my god. Well, if you'd like to send us lizard photos, you can do so.
comment lizard time if you've been here for this long. Yeah. And don't forget to rate us 5 stars for great lizard content.
We are the best of lizard content. You can do all of that at mediocrecontentpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit us up over at Mediocre Squawks on Twitter or Instagram at Mediocre Content Podcast. And I guess that's all I have.
Yeah, that sounds great.
We will.
I think it's good.
Definitely see you guys in June. Hopefully it'll be warmer then. So we'll see you then.
Cheers.
Cheers.